anyway, wanted to roll everybody in and kind of have a discussion on where we're headed and some of the things that we need to accomplish in terms of moving forward. One of the most pressing items that I wanted to discuss is some of us are sitting on a lot of suggestions that have come through, and the users have not heard back from us if it's a thumbs up or thumbs down or something already been implemented or whatever. So I want to have a real good discussion with each of you on that to see if we can go ahead and process those items and not let them sit out there. Some of them are at least about 60, 90 days old, and I think that's just a little too long to sit out there, especially if it doesn't have any traction. If it has traction, then we're still analyzing it and what have you, then that's different. But if it does not have any traction at all, then we need to send a real nice little response back to the suggester, informing them of whatever the decision of the committee was. So I wanted to kind of go around the room here, and because I've not seen much that's been submitted back to the suggester, so I'm under the assumption that we have not done much of that, and that's a problem. So we need to figure out how to fix that and moving forward. And maybe there's a reason why we've not put any of that out there. Oh, by the way, I should have said that we're being video and recorded. Someone said they wish they'd known that before they walked in the room. But whatever it is, I'm sure they will edit it. They'll edit that portion. Okay. So I want to get some comments on, maybe there's a breakdown, maybe we're not understanding what is required when you do have a suggestion that either is something that we're already doing or something we can't do for whatever reason. But we do want to, as we go throughout the organization, informing employees to submit suggestions, we do have an obligation to kind of get back with them. And there is a form in the care package that allows you to communicate back to that individual. So thank you. Yeah, that's it there, a feedback form. And so that would be the thing, and would encourage you, as you are giving feedback, that it be, especially if it's a thumbs down, that it be worded as politely as possible. I mean, there are some words that you can put in these that will discourage that individual from ever submitting a suggestion again. Things like, "Are you out of your mind?" Okay. Where did you come up with such a ridiculous idea? I mean, obviously none of you would do anything like that, right? But anyway, but it needs to be as politely as possible, because I think it does help. One of the things that we just started doing last week is that we are Mr. Byler at the end of the table. When there are department meetings where there are employees and things of that nature, we are going to start sending Mr. Byler to those meetings to encourage more suggestions. He'll have suggestion cards with him as well, just so we can sort of bring more suggestions into your committees. But anyway, that was the first part of what I wanted to talk about. But I wanted to get into getting these suggestions back through the process. Either they are being recommended to move forward for approval, or the committee has decided, based on whatever information, that is not palatable for us to move forward with it. I'm going to just circle the room, because maybe there's something I'm missing, because we're not closing out any of these suggestions. So right now we got a database of about 300 plus in there, and not many of them are coming out. They kind of getting in there and getting lost. So maybe y'all can help me to figure out how we can get them out. I'll start with you and circle the room, because maybe there are some reasons why we got this little bottleneck going on.
Okay. Well, the suggestions I've seen so far, a few that we already had implemented or was in, and we emailed the person back. We are looking. We implemented it to a gray bar or other vendors, and we let them know, that we already getting done. But this one right here, for the second one, I've never even seen this one. Upon meeting with small business by the ACDO, LED manufacturer, I worked with them before in the past, but I've never seen that.
No, this is February, and I haven't sent them a similar suggestions.
You haven't sent them out yet,
I'm
okay.
gonna send them over tomorrow.
Because I dealt with that company before, and you don't want to deal with them. I dealt with them before at the hospital, yeah, the second one.
So again, we clearly don't need to go through the whole list, but I guess I'm asking each of you to let's clear them out. The ones that you are working on, you just give a little progress report on where they are, and the ones that you're bringing forward for implementation, then a form like this need to be completed that I can brief the manager on to make sure we stay on the same page with him as he's talking to the mayor and commission and what have you. He can inform them of some of the stuff that are coming. Now, I've not gotten any fresh information from any of you in some weeks now, so I said we need to just sit down and talk and make sure we're all on the same, and we're all understanding how the process is supposed to flow. Okay, anything, Bill?
How often are we going to send these out?
Well,
Monthly?
monthly,
Okay.
because sometimes they come in a lot. For this month, February, we've got quite a few, but I've already sent out for the November, December, and the January, so the only one I need to send out is February. Yeah, which I will do tomorrow.
Okay, so we're up to date on ours.
Yeah.
And we gave everybody feedback. What they suggested was like one AC doing temperature system. We already got an energy management plan for that we're installing as we speak through train for this building. So that was already done. LED, we're already implementing those in areas already as well. So we emailed them back what we were doing and where we were doing it at our site places.
Most
So,
of those things that come through, we already actually
Yeah.
performing those tasks.
Yeah, Ms. Sophia, these updates, are they included in the spreadsheet?
What I do, because he sends them back to me, I have a folder where I put the feedback forms in, and I can show you where those are.
Yeah, how are they getting to the employees?
I usually would
Yeah.
email.
I CC the employee back with her and the committee, so everybody's
Yeah.
on the same
Are they
page.
getting, the employee getting the form?
Because you make us fill that
Yes,
form out.
yes.
The employee gets the
With the
form?
answers on it, yeah.
Yes.
What about the blue collar workers that may not have the,
The ones who have emails will get it, but you got a lot of employees that don't.
that's what I'm referring
The ones who
to.
gave us suggestions for, all of them had emails. They came from the email addresses on it.
Okay, so you,
Yes, sir.
yeah, so in your case, right, because I know we got some committees that probably, have, 50, 60, 70, 80 different types of suggestions, and that may be a little difficult, because they may have a mixture of the folks without an email. Yeah. Okay, Ralph.
I would say Winston was the chairman.
Okay,
The
okay.
chairperson.
Yield to the chair. Okay.
You can speak back.
Permission to speak. Go ahead.
Well, we've had a lot of suggestions. Some are interesting and require some investigation, and some of them are just, like advertising on fire department trucks.
Mm-hmm.
So some of them, are not feasible, and some of them, like I said, require a little bit of investigation. We are bringing one to you and to be presented to the city manager about the trash receptacles, the solar powered ones. There's really nice, it's a real opportunity for city to get some money, and we just kind of hammer out some details with the vendor for the payment structure and like that. So I think we're moving ahead pretty good, and we have a lot. We have a lot of staff that are looking into things, and a lot of our materials also require a fee. So obviously it needs to go on to the fee booklet, and that can't be done until we vet that recommendation and then try to get it onto budget, because obviously the commission needs to approve that.
Yeah, so you want to bring those forward now, especially where we are in the budget process, so we can have we can have that conversation. And I don't know how many different items they are that you have out there, but
several. Everybody thinks we can charge for everything.
Yeah, well, I mean, you all obviously have to kind of vet them and see, which ones are palatable to move forward with, and then we can go from there. We can go from there with it. But please quickly bring them in. This month here is really like, we're kind of crossing over into that the next quarter. And we're, at least based on my original projections, that all of the committees will be up to speed and the recommendations will be pouring into the manager's office for possible implementation. So whatever you kind of have out there that you've already somewhat vetted, let's not waste any more time. I know when I've learned of certain things out there that's been suggested, I know you and I, Ralph, we spoke last week, and I believe we had a conversation with the waste management company, and I guess that's got to get discussed with the committee before we bring that forward. But I'm asking that you would move as swiftly as you can with those items as we are carving out the budget and deciding which items will go in the budget as a viable revenue opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things we're running into as well, CO Baker, is a lot of our members are dealing with the budget time of year, and they have constraints on them as well. So it's a little bit of, we're used to doing our budget. That's not an issue. We know we have our regular job on our budget, and I have a regular job on our budget. And so I think it's some people, I can speak for myself, I'm getting used to doing that myself, dealing with this, extra thing that was on our plate now. But we'll try to get as much as we think we can move forward with.
Yeah. I would encourage, the chairs, co-chairs, as much as you can, try to take some of this stuff and subcommittee it and not tie down the whole committee. You may be able to do, with some items, do a committee of one who's going to do the research, the benchmarking, the analysis, and whatever you need to do to make sure, and then when you do meet, that one person can present it. Especially some of the groups are a little tighter. One thing that we are going to be doing that we should have been doing the previous months is that they're going to be someone from the senior executive team who's sort of going to be almost like a mentor to the committees, because we do want to make sure those that have committed and volunteered to sit on these committees, that they're actually showing up for the meetings. We do understand budget time, but all of us got that. All of us carrying the budget weight. So we just need to be creative. Again, if there are situations where the chair can say, well, Ralph, why don't you just take this and work on this? Because the committee has got a lot of other stuff going on. I would encourage you all to take advantage of that. That some things you may not necessarily need to tie down the whole committee other than just meeting and deciding after you have the analysis and have all the results, just decide if that's something you all would like to move forward with. In fact, I want to conclude our meeting with almost like maybe an action plan of the items that you all have that you've not brought forward, but you're about to bring forward. So I'll get a feel for what that is. I got a chart in my office that I'm beginning to track the items that are soon to come forward, just so
Right.
we don't lose track of it.
90 to 120 days out.
Yeah, yeah, so we can have a better feel for what's happening there, okay? All right.
Before we move on, I
Yeah.
wanted to just add, we wanted to present this to you. So far, we've worked on quite a few, as Ralph has said, with the team. And there's some items that we have in progress and some that are, one or two that are approved,
Yeah.
as Ralph stated, and then some that are unapproved. So we can present this to you just as a start, so
Yeah.
that, we're working on these, but then we'll make sure we get ones that are, within, as Ralph
Very
said,
good, very
90
good.
days or so. So, just so that you have a feel of the items that that are in progress.
Yeah, so, right now you have 34?
Yeah.
34 pending
Pending.
review.
Okay.
And that 21 right there in progress,
Yeah.
and there's only 3 unapproved at this point, so we'll get the responses to staff, but just so that you know that those are the items that are being looked at right now, and we'll get them, get you some more information.
Okay, very good.
We did, just for clarity, we did get some directive that if it's unapproved, that the planning committee of CARE would review that before we reach out to the employee and say that it's unapproved.
Yeah,
So that's also included in this report, and that's supposed to happen before we reach out to the employee, is that correct?
yes, the committee, yeah, we should be able to take a, to take a look at it. Because sometimes in some cases, it may take another set of eyes or looking at it from another perspective, or maybe a hybrid approach to whatever the suggestion. Because sometimes with the suggestions, you may have to add another piece onto it for it to gain some momentum. But the suggestion, as it may sit, it may not gain any traction at all. I was talking to ACM Moore about a particular suggestion that had floated into one of the committees, and just by adding another piece on it, it gained, if it was presented just like it was written out, it would not fly, but by adding another piece to it, it gave some traction, and I don't recall which committee is actually working on that, but that is the case there. But this is very good. This is very good. Do we have one of these for every group? Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, there's, when we go to.
Okay. Well, anyway, this is a real nice template to. I can get through this without having to go run and grab my glasses. Yeah, very good, very good. Okay, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, from the grants committee, we have only had 8 suggestions over the whole November, December, and January. They could generally be summed up as the city should get more grants. It's pretty much what people are telling us, and we agree.
Yeah.
So these people have been reached out to tell them we received their feedback and that we are trying to get more grants and kind of give a little information as to why and how. I didn't realize there was a way to take them off. So I haven't been removing them or anything from the list, just because I didn't know that that's what we were doing. I just saw their email address and emailed them back.
Yeah.
If there is a form that we're supposed to be doing, or some way to remove it, or to highlight it that it can be removed, or whatever, I don't know that.
Yeah,
process.
yeah. This form, and you and Ms. Sophia can get together, that we can be able to complete this form to submit back. But I would say from your area, and I think maybe this is a good opportunity to toot your horn of the many grants that's been identified, and the committee may not be aware of it, but every department has a liaison to the grants committee. And so as a grant committee, I get a lot of different grants that actually come in, and I send them to the chair, and she dissects them, and we respond back, what can possibly work, and what, and that, we're not a rural town,
We don't
and-
provide dental services
Yeah.
on tribal lands, but.
Yes, yeah, we don't have horses and livestock running on the loose.
But that's the thing, so you can see when I send those out to the different departments,
Yeah.
when you see the ones that you've sent to me, and like almost always it's no, 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 no. So by the time we find ones that can actually be possible and send them out, I mean, we've gone through 100 that couldn't.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those are, to find viable ones.
Yes.
Is a lot of legwork that the committee's doing.
Yeah.
You know, we do it twice a week for an hour. and
Yeah,
find them.
what I'd like to encourage you to do is that as we move forward, especially ones that we've identified as viable, that you load them into a spreadsheet. And the benefit of that is that in some cases, it may be something viable for us, but maybe maybe we've missed the deadline.
Sure.
But if we get it on the spreadsheet, then we can catch it, you know, because grants usually flow on cycles, and some are quarterly, every 6 months, annually, or whatever. But we get it on there, and we'll call that our, you know, grants portfolio, and those will be the grants that we'll be tracking, either active or some that we will look to do in the next year around. We can add them in there. I have a spreadsheet that I developed some years ago, but it's we've not been able to find it, and so I've been trying to get around to developing it again. But where's Mr. Samuels?
He's behind the screen.
Yeah. So if I'm not mistaken, I believe I tasked Mr. Samuels to develop a template that, and the part that I'm interested in is the, you know, obviously the agency, the type of grant, the deadlines and the deadlines and additional information that we can use it as something that is trackable to ensure that if we missed it this time, or if we're on it this time, at least we know what we got out there. To your knowledge, you have any feel for about how many that we've identified that is actually being pursued now?
They're
Just
being
off.
pursued? I
Yeah.
don't know of one.
Okay. Well, there's. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Fire might be applying for one of them. Okay, that's not true, let me take it back. 2 of them are being pursued, but they're being pursued by police, so
Yeah.
since that's me, I don't really count those. But it's still me, so.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
still
Yes,
plug
so-
them in, and I know that, you know, we got some of, individuals that submit suggestions, they're very resourceful, so in one particular case, one area, went ahead and submitted their own grants. And I believe because I said for us to follow up with a care card on it, so it can get to you and you can kind of add it to the, they're for $20,000, right? Roughly about $20,000 grants for all kind of setting up business incubators and things along that line. And we've gotten some responses back that they are looking very, very favorable as they go through the process. So something like that, we will want to add to that spreadsheet,
Yeah.
so we can track them. But I know that I've seen the emails where you've sent them out to different liaisons, and I think we want to make sure we are able to, you know, track them, you know, get a response back, you know, does it have any traction or not?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're getting that feedback from the liaisons.
I would say, for a third of them, there is a response, and the other 2/3, there's maybe thank you. You know, which, I mean, just because I sent it to them does not mean it's a fit for what they're trying to do.
Yeah, but
You know, they might
we,
be eligible, but they might be like, no, that's,
Yeah.
you know, it's not what we're trying to do, we don't have the match for that in our
Yeah.
budget. Or, you know, just because they say no doesn't mean they're, you know, being lazy. It may just be that it has a $50,000 match and they don't have it in their budget, so
Yeah.
it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I would say, let's, you know, make sure we have a conversation on that, because if it is something that is in our CIP, and so if we don't find any additional funding out there, that means if it's something that has moved up on the priority list, then our general fund would have to, you know, finance it 100%. And maybe some employees may not be privy
Sure.
to that. So I think in cases where there is a match and they're not sure, we need to have a conversation on that. We bring the CIP administrator in, and she can, you know, she will somewhat say, well, you know, this is a high priority, this is on the list, or this is scheduled for next year, or what have you. And we'll have a better feel for it, because the whole purpose of this whole grant is to see if we can find money, dollars out there to take the burden off of the general fund. So a match is not a bad thing when when it's funded, you know.
If you're only paying 50,000 of the 2 million, then that's not so bad.
Yes. So I still want to, you know, get a couple of hours with the grants committee to kind of go over my little thing that I showed you, to kind of see what kind of results it will yield, and we're still trying to schedule that. Okay.
We look forward to it.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Good job.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Just to piggyback on what Kim said, in February we met with consultants from In-Rem Solutions.
Yes.
We met with 2 of them to get an understanding of what they do and how they could assist us in our committee.
Yeah.
And they did come up with a suggestion of a grants calendar for those grants that we may have missed the deadline. The same thing we're talking about.
Yeah.
We missed the deadline, but could be reoccurring.
Yeah.
So that was their suggestion for us to create this calendar. So that's piggybacks what you said.
Yeah.
And they had some other information where they could help us along.
Yeah, they did, because they write municipal grants. They had a skeleton of a calendar.
Yeah.
Of things that they had applied for. So perhaps if we marry the one you're thinking of and the one that they may have, that might be a good, you know, tool for us to use.
Are they on the city's library consultants? They are.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And there's a budget line for them, for grant writing services.
Yeah.
So if it's a.
The department needs to know too.
Mhm.
So the department will have the budget for it.
Yes.
And that's what, I mean, when I send the emails out at UC, I say, you know, if you need anything, if you want more information, if you know, if we can help, let us know. And if it turns out that there's a $5 million grant that someone's getting, and they're just worried about who's gonna write this 60-page grant, well, then maybe we could use some of the line that we have for this grant writer.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten that feedback yet. I don't know if it's prudent to say to the world, by the way, there's a grant writer, if you all want it, because I think her line is not limitless, you know.
Yeah, we want to, because it's something, when you bring these grant writers in, you know, they're writing for something specific, something very, very competitive. Yeah, because, you know, most of the grants that we apply for is, you know, all we're doing is just filling out forms, you know. And I just call it just doing a grant application, but a grant proposal, that's where a writer, and I really think we need someone on the team that has that caliber, because as we are doing searches and things like that, there are various community challenge type of grants where who has the best proposal get the funding, and in cases like that, you really need someone. I think we need someone on retainer to pull in as we do identify, you know, grants of that magnitude.
Well, I mean, that's what they've done it in the past. They've gotten the city grants in the past. It's a limited budget line. So like I said, I wouldn't want to use them for a $5,000 dog park grant. Because they would probably cost that to write it. But if it's a big amount of money, if it's a capital improvement project, you know, if it's something that would really be worth it, if the juice were worth the squeeze, shall we say, then that is available to us.
Yeah, I'd also say, would tell you that we're working on a legislative agenda for the state of Florida and for federal funding. And the manager and I, we are going to, I think we're scheduled to be in Tallahassee on the 19th of March to kind of push the state legislative agenda. we'd like for the committee to take a peep at that and see if there's anything in there that you would suggest doing differently or stating different, because we're gonna make presentation. We've got about 12 major items on that list that we're going after, and I think it's about 20 items at the federal at the federal level that we are pursuing the federal the folks in Washington to provide us with some supplemental funding for.
We would be happy to do that.
Yeah. So I'll let Ms. Gina know as we get this document finalized that you all can take a look at it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Specifically, the police historic substation needs to be perfect.
That is that is on there.
Needs to be perfect.
Yeah, that is on there, and it looked like you know, body cameras from our meeting this morning may be added back, added back to that. So anyway, thank you very much. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, on the expenditure committees, we've had quite a number of suggestions. Some may be short-term in that we can perhaps get to those more quickly than the others, which would require much more research and so on, and perhaps implementation down the road. But one of the challenges that we were having is, as someone mentioned earlier, my committee members, everyone says they are tied up with their primary jobs. But we've subdivided the suggestions amongst ourselves, and we've reviewed them and ranked them in terms of priority items and so on. But we were somewhat negligent in reaching back to the employees and giving them some feedback. Now I know that there is something in place. We'll be utilizing that method of communicating with the employees and let them know where their suggestions are in terms of review and so on and so forth. But we are moving along, and I do intend to move forward and go continue ranking them and getting back to the employees who made suggestions to us. But then again, like I said, some things are perhaps more easily attained than others. Others may need further management review and implementation or input before we can implement anything. But we're moving along.
Okay. About how many suggestions you have out there?
I can't.
Approximate.
I don't think we have less than 30.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Very good. Paul, you have any words of wisdom?
Suggestion?
Words of wisdom.
No.
No words of wisdom. You're always telling me what to do, and you can't say words. You have no words of wisdom to give this team.
Well, see, I've exhausted it all on you.
Oh, wow. Wow. So that's why I'm on overload. Yes, sir.
I'm with the volunteer committee.
Yeah.
We haven't had a lot. Whenever we do try to have meetings, some of us don't make it, some of us do. So one that we're really trying to go forward with is creating a pool of volunteers, reaching out to the high schools. We reached out to a couple colleges, but the dean or whoever Ms. Jean spoke to said that they wouldn't be interested because it's not paid or credit hours towards school. So I think we're gonna try to focus on maybe high schoolers more, people in high school.
I tell you, that's the first time I
never heard that either, but she reached out to Broward College.
Yeah, that's the first
Broward
time.
College told her.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
so
the first.
she kind of got discouraged from calling any other colleges.
Yeah. Do I have a master list of schools?
Is there a change? Because I recall we used to be able to sign off on their
for like credit hours.
For
yeah,
volunteer hours, and they take it to school. And
yeah. Even when I do adopt the street, I give them a certificate for hours.
I do.
Well, for high schoolers.
Yeah.
We don't need kids.
But college,
even college credit. We have
colleges credit hours.
College credit. Well, yeah, a lot of colleges also have you have to donate a certain amount of your time as well.
We're talking about credit.
Yeah, we'll get together. We'll get together. I'll bring a gentleman in that give us a list of colleges, and in fact, it's actually the reverse. They're begging us to take their students because they want them to get some practical
That's what I would
experience.
thought. That's what I
Yeah,
would thought.
so, maybe that one contact was not, not the best contact. But I believe we had a breakthrough last week with a good contact. I don't know, did they give you an update on that? Okay, so I'm not.
I haven't been getting emails, so
Huh?
our last meeting was only 3 of us.
Yeah, yeah, the chair not here, right? Okay, yeah, there was something very exciting broke through your committee last week, but I won't steal the committee's thunder. I'm surprised they didn't tell you about it. Very exciting, very nice for the organization, very good, very real solid partnership. So I won't say any more. You can reach out to the chair, and I wasn't able to attend the meeting when one of the principals from that company came in, but they did agree to partner and do something very substantial, in my opinion, for the city, as it relates to volunteers. Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry, I got a cold, so y'all excuse me.
Yeah.
But the CIP committee received 3 suggestions. 2 we received, I think the end of the month, and then we just received one in our last meeting. 2 of them, we reviewed them, and they don't look like they meet the criteria. We're investigating a little further to see, but they don't meet the criteria for a CIP, because the CIP is $100,000, and it has a useful life of 3 years. So the first 2 we received, we may have to pass them back to you, Chief Baker, and also back to Sophia.
Yeah.
But we're gonna look into them and gather as much information as possible, so that when we do pass it on, at least the committee that receive it would have some information to work with. The last one that we received, we haven't had a chance to look at it, but we're gonna look into that one as well. But we only had 3 so far.
Okay. Very good.
And we did have ACM Moore and Hector that attended our last meeting, and it was really a great meeting. So they gave us some helpful hints and all that, and they said they will be back. They asked us to put them on our email, so that they can get the notification. So it really was a great meeting.
Nice, very good, very good. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yes, I'm with the Reserves Committee. The purpose for that committee was a little bit, likely a little bit further out, since the expectation would be that the revenues that generated from the CARE program would be providing the monies into the reserve. So at that point, there's one angle that we're awaiting all the revenues to be brought in from the great ideas that we'll have to generate more revenue. There were a few suggestions, however, those are when we looked at this point, and we'll follow up on those. So we didn't expect a large volume like some of you are getting for some. However, the reserve committee will, I guess, participate more on the back end once the dollars start rolling in.
Yeah, and I'll get with you and Miss Susan, but the concept was to take, you technically have a reserve fund balance, right?
Yeah, for different purposes, yeah.
Yeah, you have a reserve fund balance, and you take a portion of the reserve fund balance and declare it the city reserves, right? And then from there it's invested, and you got interest earnings, and you just kind of put together an investment portfolio and really just watch the reserves grow, because it's technically dollars that you set aside to not touch. But we'll have a greater discussion with you and Miss Susan on that. I made a note over here.
There's some more steps that would be involved necessary in that.
Very good, very good, very good. Alrighty.
Mr. Baker.
Yeah.
I just remember one suggestion. Now that you passed me by, I remember. So, what I've seen done is the utility billing have a deposit of about $4 million. once you issue revenue bonds, you are allowed, and I don't know to what extent, to use that to invest some of that money.
When you say invest which money? The issuance of the bonds or the security or the customer deposit?
The customer deposit.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, you can do that.
So we haven't done that. So what is preventing us from doing that? Because we have about $4 million sitting there, and you know everybody's not gonna, unless everybody's gonna get up and leave the city at once, you're not gonna be using that anytime soon. Because most of those are a lot of it is tenant balance, and when one tenant moves in, one usually replaces them.
Yeah.
So that $4 billion been sitting there for a long while.
Yeah, sounds like you need to fill out a care card.
That's what I'm saying, it seems like that would be a care.
Yeah, that's in the money market sweep.
A portion, yes.
That's in the money market sweep account now. We already took care of that.
Yeah, he's a step ahead of you.
How much of it was in the money market sweep?
Since September, we've been using the sweep, so so basically 2 pots of money: the money market sweep or the SBA.
Okay, so
whichever bucket you want to count it in.
So isn't there an option where you get higher than one of those interest rates?
You can get more, but you might take more risk, and then you're subject to the
don't
loss.
like the risk.
So what we have is what you can get, the maximum you can get with minimum risk, or it's relatively minimum at this point. So that's taken care of already.
Okay, Paul, you guys can have
yeah, I gotta deeper discussion.
Remember I spoke to you, I told you it was pending?
It
was pending since September, we took care of that already.
You're on the next meeting.
It was pending.
It was several months ago we were talking about that.
Yeah.
They come.
So it's been quite a while.
Okay, yes ma'am.
Workplace efficiency.
Yeah.
Yeah, so right now we are working on 112 suggestions. We were under the impression, or we were, I guess, under the notion that you had to review everything before we closed anything.
Well, I need to see it.
Okay.
That's why if you had the forms,
Yes.
then we can kind of, whip through them. And the problem is once we get so many backed up, it becomes a bit intensive to kind of get them all through. But it's supposed to flow on a daily basis, so we know what's thumbs up, thumbs down, and we kind of keep it moving.
Just a question on that. Is it possible to give you in a report format instead of each individual form, because it would be a lot of forms?
Well, the problem is that these something need to go back to the person that made the suggestion.
Right, and we couldn't do that via email, because it's already in the
Yeah.
system, and we could disposition it and send them a response, and still give you the document for review. I'm
Yeah.
just asking, just to say.
Well, I don't, we can certainly look at it, but my concern is, you have a control number, so if someone comes and inquire about it, you can go in and just track it, and this form comes up. But there may be a better and much more efficient way to do it as you're suggesting. But I know I peeped at some of the workplace efficiency suggestions, and many of them, there's no traction there, and you have a large percentage of them that we're already doing that. Okay, so I think you can kind of knock a lot of them out with some statements of that nature. Like I know there's some there related to training.
Sure.
And we have ramped up our training. And then there's some things on there about benefits and things, and it's obvious the employees is not aware of all of these benefits that they currently have. I would say probably maybe half of your stuff is what we're already doing. Am I off a little?
Somewhat, so we've gone through a lot, we meet regularly. So we have a full spreadsheet that's out there on the iDrive of all of the suggestions that we have so far. The February ones we do not have assigned yet.
Yeah.
So all of them are there. We went and voted through all of the ones through January. So of those, I believe 75 of those, 112, we have already put them in like I guess a deferred status. We were kind of confused with referred versus deferred, but we put them in a deferred status, meaning we were going to close them with notes to the employee who submitted the suggestion, explaining that either the project is already going on. Most of them were, like you said, either there's something in place already or there's currently being pursued.
Yeah.
And so they'll get those notes.
Yes.
And then we can close them out. Then there's at least 6 of them that we deemed as favorable. So we put a meeting on your calendar for next week.
Okay.
To go through those 6. And that way you can tell us yay or nay. You know, hopefully at least one of those makes the cut, and then we'll move forward. But we think that there were 6 of them that made a whole lot of sense, and were thoughts either in the HR department's minds of, you know, possibly doing something with it. I think the suggestion just kind of helped push the momentum forward for those. So we'll do that when we meet with you next week. And our committee has been using the form. So we did reach out to Sophia about the proper format of how to close. And so we are doing the form. So what we did is we have some subcommittees. And the subcommittees, we grouped the suggestions by subcommittee, and then whoever contacted the employee about their suggestion. All of them have been contacted with the exception of the new ones for February. So they at least know that someone is working on it, someone's looking into it, so that part is done. But as far as the closure piece, that's the last piece. And so many of those forms are already out there. We created folders on the iDrive for all of the subcommittees to put their feedback forms in, just in case you wanted to take a look at them before we actually close it. We didn't want to take that action without just making sure that you were okay. So if you wanted to look at it form by form, it's there, or on the spreadsheet, or if you would like us to print out something for you, we can do that, absolutely. And then, so that's all the good stuff, but then the challenge that we're faced with is our committee. So we've had some drop off from our committee, where originally people said that they wanted to participate, and then for whatever reason, they were unable to, and we're having some of the same challenges of people saying, you know, their workload or budget or this and that. Completely understandable. We do have, I can tell, the most suggestions that have come through our group. 112 is a lot. That's 112 calls, which could turn into more calls that spawn from there, and it's a lot of time. So one of the things that came through from our committee was we wanted to see if it would be possible if just how we're sending the weekly reminder email for people to submit their suggestions, if we could do another push asking if there are more people out there who would like to be a part of the committees, and that way we have a new fresh list. Maybe we add some more about, you know, what the expectations are, time commitment that would be required. Get some people who really want to be on the committee, and then that gives us a little library that we can pull from and get some more people on our committee, because we really need the help to kind of break up these suggestions, because it is a lot.
Yeah, I believe it. Excuse me, Paul. I believe there is an active list of individuals waiting to be assigned. Am I correct? Waiting to be assigned. So if we can make that available to them. Yeah, there's an active, and you got some individuals that was really hyped up and ready to serve, and they did not get selected or picked. So we may want to refer to that list. But as we make our rounds throughout the city, we are continually recruiting others, and I believe we had a big meeting with Public Works, Public Utilities on Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday of last week, and we recruited 2 or 3 that wanted to, and they're administrative folks that want to sit on committees. So we can make that, please.
You can give us those names. We certainly reach out or recruit them on.
Yeah, and I think we need to perhaps add more more members to that group, because you just, you know, you're kind of like the catch-all area, and it's like, you know, really everything ties into workplace efficiency. So if there's, you know, there's not a sweet spot to place them in, they'll drop right in your committee. So this time around, we may want to populate. I don't know how many you started off with. You started with 10.
We started off with 10 plus the 3 chairs, and then it dropped. So now we're down by 3 people.
Yeah.
And we probably should be even higher than 10.
I'm thinking, and then you can take that and kind of break it up into subs, so you can push out things faster. Okay, very good.
But you should see a slew closing. You know, we just wanted to give you an opportunity to check them out.
Well, look, so we're scheduled to meet, you said sometime this week?
The 11th.
11th?
The 11th, yes.
Yeah, okay.
All of our response forms are under the care committee workplace efficiency by subcommittee and by the number of the suggestions.
Yeah.
So they're all on there, and then they've also been entered into the website.
Okay.
So.
Very good, very good, very good. Anything else? No? Yes, ma'am.
For me?
Yeah.
In the Conservation Committee, we received approximately 18 suggestions, not counting February, and about 60% of those were energy related, so they were moved over to Aubrey's committee, and because they had to do with lighting or cooling or something like that. Out of the ones that we have, everyone has been contacted via email, and all the committee have been CC'd on that, and we are pursuing some of the suggestions. We have approximately 7 favorable initiatives that we're ready to move forward to you, and yeah, that's where we are. Right.
Yeah, pretty much we do get, you know, as going back to what Kim said, is the juice worth the squeeze. We do get conservation. We all want to be responsible, but sometimes the cost of it is just not something that's feasible.
Correct.
So getting, you know, as you said, getting that across without seeming to be the bad guy. It's you know, we did it with the email, but you know, we've on some of the emails we've gotten feedback from the authors of the suggestions, and they, you know, they kind of understood. So you know, we just have a couple here that we're ready to, you know, present to you, and you know, I'm looking forward to February's
Great.
In some others, we need to do a little more due diligence. For example, one of the suggestions is, should the city have its own car wash location instead of spending and sending it out? So we have to do the due diligence and find what would it cost, what would be the investment, and what would be the return on investment for that. So things like that.
Yeah, I think a study or something was done. For actually having that, I had that discussion today for lunch. Yeah,
so
I think procurement may have that information.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny, a big discussion on that today.
Okay, so procurement, will we reach out to Alicia?
I think so. Again, I don't know who, but she may be the one to start with.
Either her or Natalie Richmond.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Good, good.
Very good.
RFI or something out there.
So we feel we have some strong ones to send over to you.
Oh,
question.
yes, ma'am.
I want to make sure that we're coding them properly. So when something is deferred, because we have a few, it's not that they're unfavorable, it's just that there's already a process in place or a project in place, and they just weren't unaware, and we're explaining what it is and how they can locate the information. Would it be appropriate to deem it as deferred in that scenario?
Well, deferred to me meaning that maybe the timing, there's a timing that it's not that it's not a good, but maybe you know, maybe there's a timing issue. Maybe it's an item related to something that would have to be put on the ballot, and we just had an election, so the only way you can sort of, you know, work with that one is that you kind of defer it to the next, you know, and keep it deferred. Kind of is like a holding pattern until it's popular to bring it bring it forward. Unfavorable, obviously, it's just, you know, the traction is not there. Referred is when you have to, maybe it's something that, purely the manager has to decide on that completely, or it gets sent to another committee outside of your committee.
Okay, so basically, just so I clear in my mind, anything that's unfavorable is something that we're closing and not moving forward with. Alright, okay.
Yeah.
Question for you. With the regarding expenditures, we don't want to appear to be insensitive to someone's suggestions. There may be suggestions, yes, that could save a few dollars. What should we do with that? It's not gonna make a hit of beans difference to our bottom line. Yes, you may save a couple of bucks here. How would you handle something like that?
I would.
But you don't want to give the impression to somebody that their suggestion is not worth it.
Yeah. Well, I would respond obviously politely there, and just let them know it's just not cost effective. Yeah, it may be, you may save $5 a year, but right now, it's not cost effective. Yeah, okay.
It costs $500 to review.
Yeah, just
I'm willing to save $100.
Just processing it, but it would not be cost effective. If it's that little dollars in there. But if you run into some of those deals and it's like a head scratcher, just come up and we'll come up with some. We'll come up with a sentence to keep everybody happy.
We've had to reach back to some of the folks.
Yeah.
Explain what does this mean, do you have any suggestions? Do you give us something more to work with to do an analysis?
Yeah, but that's what I would do, madam. I would kind of put it out there that way to, not offend them and then encourage them to continue to submit suggestions and kind of leave it at that. Yes.
For clarification, should we be going online and updating do we have the ability? I have not.
I will send the information.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's the difference between in progress and research in progress?
They sound like the same.
Okay. I just asked because on the website you can choose when it's in progress or when it's research in progress. So I was wondering if in progress meant that like the program's already in progress and that's happening, or if we're still
researching.
Yeah.
Research.
Like, what's the progress?
Yeah.
What's the progress?
Yeah, the research was probably a little weaker than in progress.
So in progress you would mark it unfavorable or favorable.
Yeah. Lastly, I wanted to find out, again, we've kind of fleshed out some of it as we have gone around the room here, of the suggestions that you have that you're moving forward with. These are, you've gone through the process and now you're ready to bring them to the table for implementation. And so that's what I'm in the hunt. I'm in the hunt for right now. I think that we've been at this long enough that every committee should have some successes. And I know I met with expenditure last week, and I know there's several coming forward that I've already whet the CM's appetite on. So he was asking about it this weekend. Okay. So we all we all need them. Of course, grants. Your role is to bring those items forward, and you are. And at some point, some of those grants are going to be awarded. Perhaps real soon. So we all need, we all need successes, and that'll keep your committee a little more motivated and feel like you're making some strides. And I as I was sharing about the volunteer committee, we got something this past week, and I think that as we bring that forward, that's going to be a booster to kind of boost the morale of the committee, that you are making some significant progress. So at this point, everyone should have some things that you are about to bring forward. And I think we've heard it. But if you don't have anything at this point, you want to get with me and see if we can figure out what's not working. The month of February, I know I'm putting you on the spot, but I know we got quite a few suggestions in the month of February.
It's 150
Yeah, and about 80% is going to workplace. No, don't scare her. Don't scare her. I'm just joking. That was a joke. But when are we gonna release those? Tomorrow.
I'm done with them,
Yeah.
adding the control numbers, so I just need to separate them.
Yeah.
And I send them because I was asked earlier, and I told the individual that I should have sent it on Thursday, but I didn't complete it, but definitely tomorrow I send it out.
Yeah. Yeah. So what that means is let's clear the deck, of much stuff that you have. Let's clear the deck so you can as these new ones come in, you won't be completely bogged down. And for workplace efficiency, when we do meet, if we need to set another meeting just to kind of help in getting through some of that, some of the stuff there to kind of help you with it, I can bring some other people in and we can kind of get through a lot of that stuff, so we don't have you locked up with so many items. But hopefully we'll be able to take that skill set list of the people we have left, and we can maybe populate your committee a little different than the others, so you'll have more resources to help you get through that. So again, whatever you have that you're bringing forward, let this be the week to bring it, to bring those items forward. Let's not lose any more time. We're gonna go through an exercise in a few minutes with conservation, energy, and expenditure.
Well, I'm not sure if I invited expenditure.
Yeah, and I don't know, she may not. Yeah, she may not. I know you all got to get going. But anyway, this is a concept almost like performance contracting concept of and is actually a P3 model where the company comes in and replace all of our systems that aren't energy efficient, and they guarantee a certain amount of savings over a period of time. So that's where the expenditure reduction comes in. I know you're like, how is this type? Yeah, so it reduces the expenditures. So there are several companies out there, and this is one particular company that came in here a few months ago that I told we would bring them before the committee, so the committee could take a good look at it and see what they think. I know P3 is not here today. Yeah, so the public-private partnership has several pieces that they're bringing forward with Uber and Lyft, and Marriott Hotel and some other stuff. I don't recall them all, but that's forthcoming. So whatever you have that you are recommending that if we move forward, if you can get them to me this week, if you need to stick your head in the door and go over them or whatever, let's get the forms filled out so we can make that happen. Any final thoughts? Any final thoughts? Before you leave, I want you to know that they are the marketing group is working on a video, and they'll be interviewing each chair, vice chair, and you'll have a chance to kind of talk about some of your successes and some of the things that you've been doing the last few months on the care. They're gonna take it and put it in a nice little video and push it out to the employees, opposed to, we got a little newsletter we're working on, but it'll be a video piece that hopefully the employees will listen to, and that will kind of help them to continue to stay excited and continue to submit suggestions and what have you. So expect to get a call to go in the studio and have time to get a haircut or put in your makeup or whatever you prefer to do for that. But did want to share that with you, that all of you have an opportunity to be interviewed and kind of talk about some of the things that you've been seeing and some of the things that that employees can consider doing to kind of keep the process moving forward. All right. Any other thoughts? Well, we almost did it in an hour. Any other thoughts? Any other challenges?
We've recognized about $200,000 in non-traditional revenue already. Right.
Okay. Yeah. In fact, Paul, give them a little more detail, since we have them here. Take them through revenue on the interest earnings, the P card.
Basically, what procurement has been able to do is get vendors who we pay a lot of money, like ways to pay via credit card. This is the P card piece. So what that does is, when we pay the vendors using the P card, we get rebate points. So that's paid every quarter. Based on the number of vendors on now, we should be able to up the 10,000 that we should get. What we got last month up to about $40,000. So that's the P card piece. The other piece is the sweep of the account, which Ian was talking about, which has so far garnered about $134,000. We expect that to be up by the end of this quarter. So I'm estimating conservatively it should be over $200,000 at the end of this month. And that's money has been set aside, it has been assigned, so that it cannot be touched, only by the city manager and the chief right there.
No, I'm not included in that one, my friend. Okay.
So that's some good news.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So we're looking. We'll be rolling out another report at the end of this month.
Yeah.
This month, which is sort of why we are really ramping up, and we're again asking all, whatever you got out there that you've done the work on. Let's go ahead and bring those items forward, because we're obviously want to look at when we can anticipate beginning to see a savings, which would be a expenditure reduction, or see new revenues, and or experience some operational efficiencies or what have you. We can project about when that can happen. So the quicker we can get it on the list, and the better off we are. Again, our task is to make sure every committee this month, every committee needs some successes. Every committee, there's something about trophies, and that's what successes is with this program. Again, thank you much. Did we miss anyone? No. Okay. Thank you.